I'm Tommy. It's 97.9 GRD in the house. Red Sun Rising. I have Mike and Ryan. Gentlemen, welcome.
How are you, man?
I'm very good. How about you?
I'm great, man. Thanks for having us.
The new record, Thread. Wow. I got through it a couple times this morning. I want to thank your manager for sending it over to me because it expires in a little while. So I didn't get to download it, but I did get to listen to it.
Expired link?
Yeah, he sends me one of those expired. You got 24 hours to get all this down. They got a brand new album coming out March 30th. It is called Thread, and after going through it, this record takes you someplace. There's a lot of great textures, tones. Not one song sounds like the other. And congratulations on that. That's a very difficult thing to do, and thanks for all the attention.
Oh, thank you so much for having us and really taking a listen.
Now, when you make a record like Thread, you know, you guys wrote the songs a long time ago. You've been with this stuff. You've rehearsed it. You've recorded it. You've had this a long time, and many artists say these are your children. You know, what's the anticipation of what the fans' reaction going to be? I know you guys make these for yourself first, but what's that like waiting for that record to come out and get that full fan reaction?
It's just exciting. You know, we were in the hotel this morning and we dropped a song today, Fascination, and me and our drummer Pat were like, man, it's just so exciting to like go to Spotify or Apple Music and see that new track ready to go and know that other people could be listening like, right at this moment. And I don't know if you guys do this, but I'll listen to a song again and just, like imagine someone listening to it.
I actually do that. I do. Certain people, I do. Yeah, certain people, and I think we talked about this when we were making this record too, or at least this was my sentiment. I was saying to the guys, like, I don't even care what anybody thinks of this. I love this record, and I think when we're so proud of something we're so involved in, it just becomes like a child, right? And we want to send it out into the world, and we hope people love it and nourish it, and just the way we do. Take it in.
Well, Death Wish, the new single. It's a great song. It's doing very good in radio, and I'm looking to hear more from the record as far as I want the fans to hear it. But I loved your first record, Polyester Zeal. It was fantastic, but I experienced some significant growth with Red Sun Rising from Polyester Zeal to Thread. Is that fair? And tell me about some of that growth, because it sounds like you guys really honed in every one of these songs.
Yeah, I think on this one there was some different influences because, you know, before it was Ryan and I writing, you know, just about everything. But on this record, you know, we have Pat, Rick, and Dave, and this is our first record together, even though we've been touring together for a long time. And it's just been really cool to have those other influences. And you know, we started writing as a band on this record, and it just wasn't working right out of the gate because no one really knew how to write together because it's always been him and I. And I think once everyone found their place and found their strength, they focused on those strengths only, and we created this record. So it's just, you know, definitely evolved in that way.
Well, track 4, Stealing Life. This is a fantastic song, guys. It is so good. You know, I love the tone of the acoustic guitar in the intro. It sounds so good. And the keyboard organ that came in later, and that was a new texture to the band that I hadn't heard before. And it's so beautiful. And not just to mention that, the chorus, it's so huge and melodic, and the vocals, Mike, are just incredible. You know, this is the big term to throw out there, but it felt Beatlesque. Is that okay?
That's 100%. Yeah, that's a huge compliment for us. I mean, we're huge Beatles fans. We reference the Beatles a lot, and yeah, I think that's a common thread, if you will, of influence in every band member. Yeah, it's product placement.
One of the things that we love about music in general is that we can, every time that we do something new, that we have the opportunity to create something that's never been heard and do whatever we want. The Beatles were very much like that. You never knew what they were going to come in with, a choir of something or a tuba or whatever. Now we have this kind of cast of characters. Ricky can play, what you're hearing on that is a Wurlitzer, which we could bust out, which we couldn't do before. We can hand Mike the bass or hand Dave the drums if we had to. Pat learned castanets in 45 minutes for Death Wish and nailed it. And those are textures and tones that we don't just put on there for fun. It's like, when is this done? Like, when's the song done? And just those little elements push them to that next level. And we could sit back when they were done and say, we can't wait for this to come out. We're proud, you know.
Well, I thought a few more highlights on the record. That is El Lazo, am I correct on that? And then Clarity. Oh my gosh, that's another brilliant song, guys. And tell me a little bit more about those two tracks.
Well, El Lazo, funny funny story about that is the original title was Tie Your Own Noose, which was considered offensive maybe by some industry people, and we really got a lot of pushback, and we didn't want to change it. So our compromise was, because we were recording in Tornillo, Texas, which felt like Mexico, we changed it to The Loop, which, you know, it was our version of a noose.
Just changed it to Spanish, basically.
Yeah, we just changed it to Spanish.
Like, great guys, great move.
Yeah, so that they don't know, but yeah, and Clarity was cool because it was a song that we were trying out live, a different version of it, and we had the riff and we had a different chorus, and then Ryan had a great riff and I had this other chorus from this other song, and we like married it, which was one of those magic moments that happens in the studio, and that's how that song came about.
Yeah, basically we had two songs that we couldn't get rid of, but we couldn't finish.
Right. So we just combined them.
We transposed one to the key of the other, and boom, that was the song.
It's awesome when it comes together and you didn't see it coming that way, you know.
Never saw it coming that way.
It's a very smart record from start to finish, and I hope that the audience gives this the fair chance it deserves, because not a lot of bands do these kinds of tones and textures and stuff and go from song to song. There's not one song that sounds like the other in this record, but they all sound like Red Sun Rising, and congrats to you guys.
Thank you so much. Yeah, our records are like a box of chocolate, you know. Never know what you're going to get.
Now, I know you guys are out with Stone Sour and some dates with Hailstorm. I would love to see you guys out with Incubus. That's a ticket I'd buy. Come on.
Can somebody make that call? Because we would love to go out with Incubus. It's one of our favorite bands.
Absolutely.
I told your boss last night that, so I said, hey, man, you really ought to...
First of all, we're his boss.
Okay, well, your manager. Let me get the right word. You got that? Anyway, but I told him about it. I says, man, you really should try to do that. It would be just a dream tour for me.
Yeah, that would be incredible. I mean, Incubus is, you know, we've been listening to them for years, and their influence definitely has bled into our sound for sure.
Yeah, 100% on both vocals. I'd say percussion, guitar riffs, and ideas. And that's another band that I like. You know, you say you throw the term guitar riff around a lot, right? But he was one of those guys, and I admire this, and I try to harness this as much as I can. Where I go to the sound bank, and the riff comes alive from that. It's not just about what I'm hitting on the strings, but it's the combination of everything, and then you got a feel, and you can work songs around that. I just love that band. Yeah.
Sometimes the sounds can inspire the riff.
100%. I totally agree.
Yeah, and that's when I use the term smart, it's like Incubus approaches things that way. Not that you guys sound like Incubus, but just the time and the effort that goes into everything. It's so well thought out and cared for, where a lot of people throw one guitar tone on there, one bass tone, one drum sound, and they write 12 songs that sound exactly alike, and you guys didn't do that.
For sure.
That's never been...
It's kind of what we try not to do.
You know, this is a very dynamic record, and there's no two songs that sound alike. I've kind of reiterated that, but I'm not picking on other bands, but do you feel like there's missing dynamics? Because there's emotion. When you write a song, there's emotion with it, and when you have dynamics, the emotion goes with it. A lot of bands, you have a song called Emotionless, are emotionless.
Yeah, I think we saw that, and you know, when we were an independent band, we didn't think about it as much because we just did whatever we wanted. But when we first got signed and we started working with, you know, industry people, and we first felt that pushback when someone was like, you got to do this if you want this to work. And that really left a bad taste in our mouth. And that's when we kind of created this idea of Thread. And it's like, we're going to just write songs that we love, and we don't care what it sounds like. We don't care if you want to call it alternative, rock, metal. We don't care. We're just going to write good songs. And I think, yeah, that little bit of identity for each song is important, and I think bands miss out on that. And it's no secret that rock music is on the low end of genres right now, and I think that's one of the reasons why people fell into a formula.
Yeah, and I think, you know, we don't make a record so we can go tour. We make a record to make songs, to make music, and they're not done until we say they're done. And one of my favorite quotes, Matt Hyde, who produced this, he said this to somebody who was criticizing something. He said, trust me, if you heard it, we intentionally put it there. I mean, you know, because this is something that we labor over, because it's a labor of love, really. And I think if you approach anything you do that way, then it doesn't matter what people think of it. But what you would see is kind of people making music their business card. And I think the music should speak for itself. And if you're fortunate enough to get success and tour from there, then you're doing it right.
You know, I so much agree with that, because I love, you know, we grew up in the album generation and stuff like that, listening to the whole thing. And bands with sounds that carve things out. Everyone's trying to emulate this thing that was out 2 years ago. Right. And you can't do that. I like when I hear a singer sing, I know who that is. Or a guitar tone, I know who that is. That signature, the drum tone, you know who that is. The bass tone, you know who that is. And you learn the band's names. Remember that when you knew everybody in the band's name and stuff like that. And I miss those days.
Funny thing is, too, it's like I see a lot of bands that, you know, that's why you get this huge wave of one style of something. And because all these bands, they see something that's popular and then they all emulate it. And there's like 500 bands like that. But by the time that band would even get popular, that would be gone anyway. So it's like we never want to chase a trend. We just, like I said, we just want to write good songs. And no matter what genre you want to call it, it's just what we're going to keep doing.
I just call it rock music. Yeah. All of it, it's just a rock band. It's just a rock band. I got one more here. It's late on the record. Benny Two Dogs. Who's Benny?
Benny is a, yeah, Rick's laughing over here, our bass player, because he knew him too. Ben is, he's still living. He's still alive and well. But Ben was a good friend of ours, and the nickname kind of came out of a couple funny stories, which we don't want to tell so soon yet. Okay. But we want people to hear the song first. But it's really just about it's a real guy, and it's real. We're just telling his story and what kind of person he was, and I think that's what's cool about it. It's not something made up. It's just like something. It's about a person that we really know, and we just explained him. And he's just a very interesting cat, so it made for an interesting song.
I'm not going to spoil how the song starts or anything like that. I just wanted to know because when I listened to the record, it caught me. I was like, I wonder who Benny is. Yeah. We got Mike, we got Ryan, Red Sun Rising, new album March 30th. It is called Thread. I highly recommend this. Share it with your friends, download it, buy it, whatever you got to do, and go see these guys. And if you're a singer, if you want to get a real singing lesson, come see Mike. He will bring it to you, and all these guys in the band are excellent players. If you're a musician, I highly recommend it. It's a great show and very talented guys. And thank you guys so much for coming out. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
All right, I'm Tommy. It's 97.9 GRD.